I have a friend who's living the bigger story. And I'm going to allow her to tell it yourself.
Is this on? Yeah. Amen. I'm going to sit down. Is that okay? Yeah. All right. So, my prayer is that what the Lord has given me to say, that it just is the soil that covers the seed that Nelson just planted inside of you guys, and that it just flourishes and it really nourishes your soul. So I'm going to tell you guys a story. But before I do that, let me tell you a little bit about me. So by profession, I tell stories. I'm a storyteller. I travel all across the country and collect and retell stories in order to get people to rally behind causes that I believe in, right? So whether that's human trafficking reform or healthcare or women's rights, gender equity, I tell stories in order to get people to believe in these causes that I feel very strongly about. So I feel very qualified to tell you all the story, and I feel very empowered to do that. So it's about this girl I used to know. Actually, I'm going to stand up a little bit. It's about this girl I used to know. So November 2013, she moved from her hometown to the DMV area out here. And this move happened after a series of things happened, right? So first, she got a job offer that she did not apply for, wasn't seeking it in any stretch of the imagination, but she got this job offer. And as soon as she heard it, she knew that it was the direction that God had already been confirming in her spirit that he was taking her life. So she was very excited about that, right? And so within 5 weeks, everything just fell into place. And she was super, super hyped about it because she knew that she was right in the center of the will of God. And so when I say everything worked out, I mean, she secured an apartment, packed up all her things, quit her then job, and she had a great job that she really liked, quit her then job, told her family and friends, and within 5 weeks, she was here. The minute she got here, it seemed like every possible thing that could unravel just fell apart. So the person that she had moved in with, who was someone she had known since her childhood, they just weren't getting along. Like, it was just one of those situations where you love them, but y'all shouldn't live together type of thing. So they just weren't getting along. And after she had paid first month's rent, she hadn't really considered, like, getting settled fees, right? Whatever those fees are. So she was literally broke, like actually not a dime to her name. After she had shipped her car and done all of those things. And then, so she ended up realizing that she would have to get a second job. So having never worked retail before, she went into a store and was like, I need a job, what's up, type of thing. And they gave her one. So she ended up working 7 days a week, crazy hours. And because of that, she was very disconnected from her home, her friends, her church, everything that she knew back where she came from, and wasn't really able to get established and planted here because all she did was work all the time because she needed to make that money. So what ended up happening was she would go to the metro station and get there and be like, God, now what? Like, you know I don't have money for the Smart Trip card. Get to work and be like, okay, it's lunch, Lord. Like, you know I have nothing right now. Or it would be Sunday, and she's like, I don't have a church home. I don't know where to start. I don't have friends. I don't have anyone to go with, like literally by herself, and completely felt isolated in that space. But she couldn't shake the fact that she was very confident that this is where God wanted her to be. And so that peace and that joy was so sustaining, even though there was no evidence that suggested that this is where she was supposed to be. So it began to change her prayer life. So she started praying very specifically for things like, Lord, I need groceries. If you are the creator of the heaven and the earth, and if you created billions of galaxies, and if you created thousands of species of tree in the rainforest, surely you can provide your child with like groceries, right? Surely you can give me support. Surely you can do those things. And then miraculous things started happening. For example, one day she got a phone call from her best friend who had said, hey, I was online and the Holy Spirit told me to buy you a Safeway gift card. And what's incredible about that is she had never heard of Safeway, didn't know what it was. They don't have them where she's from. She's like, I don't know what this is or what this means, but I hope this is helpful for you. And then she would open up the mail and get like gift cards and care packages from people back home. And it was like, what? Out of nowhere. So she started understanding that, all right, God, I've known you as my father. I've known you as my healer, but now I get to know you as my friend and my provider. And so she was so thankful for that. So it really strengthened their relationship. So pay attention to the timeline. This is November, she moves. By that February, she's getting ready for work, and she gets a phone call. And it's from the vice president of human resources at BET, Black Entertainment Television. And the woman on the other line says, hey, I don't know if you remember me, but we worked on this project a couple of years ago, and I kind of just moved to the East Coast myself, and I need some help heading up the talent management department. Do you need a job? And she was like, well, here's the thing. I have a job, but I need to be making more money. And she was like, don't worry about it. This is the salary. I'll even let you keep your job working in advocacy that you feel very strongly about, because I think that's awesome. So I'll support you in that and give you this full-time job with these benefits and allow you to still do the other work that you're doing at the same time. So she's completely blown, and she's like, wait a minute. So I'm getting ready to walk into Old Navy for work. So I can go in there, quit my job, because this is real. And she's like, yeah, I actually just emailed you your offer letter. Can you start tomorrow? So she quit that day. So that's in February. So fast forward, that next November, she moved into a new apartment with her now roommate, and things were kind of really starting to look up. She had gotten a new place, a new job. She was feeling planted. Every person she met invited her to church after she had really, really sought the Lord on guidance for godly girlfriends and a church home. Everyone she met, she would be in line at the grocery store, and people were like, what church do you go to? And she's like, I don't go to church. Can I come with you? And they're like, yeah. So she ended up meeting all of these awesome women of God. And before she knew it, she kind of just looked up and had this really cool collective of godly girlfriends surrounding her. And then so they move in this new apartment in November, and she's kind of feeling really good. She's in a new relationship. Things are going well. Then fast forward to January. That's January of 2015. So by this time, she had just gotten word that her mother was forced into retirement of her job of 37 years. So she really had to pay her bills, help her mother pay her bills, which in turn was some of her brother's medical bills. So she was really in a place where she felt like she was kind of just strapped, but happy to help those in need, right? So January comes, January of 2015, and her relationship ends. And that happened 1 week after she got into a car accident that left her car undrivable and her in physical therapy and her finances completely depleted, right? So then March 2015 comes, and she and her roommate get an email saying that the person they were renting the apartment from was going to have to move back in because something happened. He's in the military. He just needs his apartment back. You have 60 days to vacate. They had only lived there 4 months. That happened. 30 days afterward, in April of 2015, she learned that she was being laid off from her job at BET. So there she was, like, man, I was finally getting established, finally getting my feet planted, finally starting to understand and figure out, like, my purpose here, why God brought me here in the first place, and nothing is working out. There's no evidence that this is where the Lord wants me, but I still couldn't shake the fact that there was just such a peace and such a joy in knowing that this is where God wanted her to be. So April comes, she loses her job, and that's particularly devastating because you can't get an apartment if you don't have proof of employment, right? But then there's hope. So it's almost Mother's Day, and her mother is going to come visit. She had been begging her mom to come, and she's so excited. Her mom finally agrees, like, all right, I'll come and visit you and spend Mother's Day over there. And then her mother even agreed to help her research apartments and jobs. So she's so excited, like, I just need if there's any time I need my praying mother, it is right now. So her mother comes on a Friday. They spend the weekend together. They have an amazing Mother's Day that Sunday. And it was the first time they had spent Mother's Day together, just the two of them without her 2 elder brothers. So they had an amazing day. And then Monday rolls around, and they had gone apartment hunting that morning. And then that evening, they're kind of just laying around enjoying one another's company, and the phone rings. Her mother's phone rings. And the person on the other line, they were on speakerphone, the person on the other line says that her eldest son, the girl's brother, was found dead in the house that he and her mother had shared. And it's those moments, in that moment, where it literally felt like a rocket had just like crashed into my heart. So in the middle of the night, she and her mother rush to get to the airport. And at the airport, I remember thinking, God, you have completely betrayed me. I gave you my heart. I was faithful over a few things, and you broke it. And then you broke it again, and then you broke it again. And then you scattered the pieces so far apart that I can't even grab hold to them. And there was a physical pain in my body. And I had nowhere to go, no one to lean on for support. My entire family is completely upside down. I don't understand. Why did you even let my mother come? Why did you let these circumstances happen? It doesn't make any sense. I was already going through, but I was trying to stay faithful in that. And now, this is it. I have no more fight. I am absolutely done. I'm just going to die in this place, and I don't care what you have to say about it. I don't feel like praying. I don't feel like reading nothing. Don't throw no scriptures at me. No, because I tried that God thing, and it obviously didn't work out. So I hop on the plane. I come home. The first thing that I do when I get into my mother's house is take sleeping pills. And I did that for about 5 days until the funeral. Then the funeral rolls around, and I'm there completely out of it because I was on some sleeping pills. And my pastor that I had grown up with comes to me, and he said words that I will never forget. He goes, everything you have ever learned about God and the Bible has prepared you for this moment. And so what you need to do is look inside of you and regurgitate all that scripture, every hymn, every sermon, every encouraging word anyone has ever spoken over your life. You need to call it forth right now, because it's these moments that matter. And how you respond to these moments make a difference in what's going to happen later. So you need to pay attention to what happens now. So I realized that it was time for me to start figuring out what I'm going to do next. So I was at home. I was in LA. I had no job. I had no apartment. I had nothing for real. So my car had been in the shop. It was completely just done. So everything seemed like I should probably stay home in LA. So what ended up happening was, I would say the day after my brother's funeral, I got a phone call from a job that I had applied for, and they had turned me down. And the person on the other line says that another position opened up that they thought I would be perfect for. And I didn't need to interview. I didn't need to do anything. I would just need to kind of send in paperwork and start. And I was so confused that I didn't even really understand the phone call because there was just so much going on. So I just asked them if I can call them next week. And they were like, sure, you can call us back next week. And in the meantime, my niece, my brother's daughter, was staying with my mom and I at the time. And my mom calls me and her in the bedroom, and she's like, I think you're depressed. I think you need to get some help because I don't want her seeing you like this. And then I started realizing that how I'm behaving and how I'm responding to what happened to me really matters. And what I do now not only matters in front of my niece, but really matters in front of the kingdom. And it matters in front of the people who are looking up to me and the people who I'm surrounding myself with. It matters. So I just made a decision in that moment to give that pain and give that grief and give that heartbreak to the Lord. And what that looked like was I don't know what's going to happen, but all I know is I can't stay here because this is too easy. It's too easy for me to give up in this place. I was fully content with just not coming back to DC, letting the apartment go, letting everything that was going on, just kind of letting it go. Everything that God had purposed inside of me to finish, all the work here, I was perfectly content with just leaving it alone because it was easy to go back home, live in my mother's house, work a random job, and just carry that pain forever. That was just so easy. But it takes real courage to still believe God, even though you feel like he's betrayed you, and to still say, you know what, Lord, I'm going to trust you, even though I don't understand. This plot twist has me completely confused, but if I'm going to believe that you are the author and finisher of my faith, you already knew this was going to happen. I'm the only one surprised by this. And not only that, but my brother was an awesome man of God. An awesome man of God. And his legacy that he left, he was sick 20 of the 27 years of my life, very, very sick. But always, every day said, the Lord is going to heal me. Every single day. And you would think that after 5 years, after 10 years, after 15 years, you would just really understand that this is just your lot in life. This is just what it is. But it was that demeanor and that fight and that just drive to trust God, even though there's no evidence that suggests that you should. That's why he has his crown right now. And his 42 years of suffering on this earth are nothing to the 42 million eternities that he's going to spend in the arms of Jesus. And so I have to make a decision about how I'm going to live my life today. And if I want that same crown that he has, then these moments matter. And I love knowing that even though Jesus knew he was going to heal Lazarus, he was God. He knew that he was going to, resurrect. He was already dead. Even though he knew he was going to resurrect Lazarus, he still wept over him. So in that moment, his humanity overcame his divinity, and he cried. So I feel really close to God in those moments where grief, and the funny thing about grief is that it's like an ocean, right? Where you can touch it, but you can't contain it. You can't really grab hold of it. You can't control it or put your mind around it. It just comes when it wants to come. You kind of never really know what mood you're going to be in. But if you can wake up every moment and declare that you are God's, he is yours, and this is the day that he has made, and you're going to rejoice and be glad in it, even in your depression, even in your hurt, even in your heartbreak, and then understanding that I love that verse, Psalm 134:18. I recite it every day, and I have for the last 6 months. My brother's been dead 6 months. Every single day. 4 months, every day I cried. Every single day, and had to declare that what's really great about those moments is because it says that the Lord is close to those who mourn and rescues those who are crushed in spirit. The Lord loves a broken heart. So if that's how you're feeling today, if you're feeling like your heart is broke or you're crushed under the weight of this world or whatever it is that's happened to you, God is so near and so excited about mending you. In fact, he knows that he is the only one who can mend you. He is the only one. That void is a God-sized void. And so I fight every day to not replace the pain of losing my brother with anything but Jesus. Every single day. I fight every day to get back to that girl I was 2 years ago when I first moved here. Every single day. And it's hard. But I just have to believe that it's worth it. Because if I allow the story to end here, what glory is that? If I allow everything that's ever happened to me to culminate in this moment, what honor, what is that message does that send to God? And my brother's life and ultimately subsequent death has taught me so much about the fact that life is a vapor. And if I only get this one chance, this one vapor, these few, however many years to show God that I'm yours and I'm dedicated to this. And I believe that you are for me and not against me. And I believe that your plan for me is good. And so I'm going to give you these ashes and just expect that you're going to make something beautiful out of it, even though it's so ugly right now and it just stinks right now. But I just firmly believe that on the other side of this, it's going to all work out for my good. Even though I don't like the story. I don't like it. I don't like what happened. I don't like what's happened to my family as a result of it. But I know that there is a God who makes all things new. Amen.